On this episode of the Carolina Sports Guy, we're going to dive right in, folks, and look at this first preseason game where our beloved Carolina Panthers face the Indianapolis Colts. Before we get into today's content, please, folks, make sure you subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. By all means, hit that bell notification, be notified of future content like in today's video on the Panthers. Pound that like button and leave me some comments, folks. I love the dialogue. Okay, folks. It's in the books, a 21-18 loss for the Panthers today against the Indianapolis Colts. And we got some good, we got some bad, we got some ugly. Now, we didn't have any starters out on the field today. So that is one thing to really look at in this game. I really want to make this comment, and I keep saying it over and over again. But Terrace Marshall Jr., man, he looks so good out there. And I'm telling you, he's going to be a weapon. As long as, like I've said, and I'll repeat it again and again, we keep the man healthy, we're going to be just fine. But he looks like a man playing with boys. Such a big target. He runs good routes, got good hands, definitely a weapon. I also thought today that Shi Smith looked good. Caught a ball in double coverage, and I thought he did really well. Hey, and Tommy Tremble, we've always known he was going to be a blocker, special teams, and knocking people's heads off. He ran a nice route, good hands, caught the ball for touchdown. So you really got to be impressed with that bit, because if he catches the ball and gains confidence like he did from P.J. Walker today, it's only up from here, folks. Now, kind of read what some people saw, and my take is I was focusing on a lot. But Brady Christensen, I'm getting mixed results. Some people, even Steve Smith on the listening to him talk about Christensen in the game, said like he was on some skates. I felt pretty well about him. I thought he played good, pretty good. Can he play right tackle? I think he can. Is he going to struggle some, especially against some of the elite edge rushers? Yes, he will. But I think he'll be, the more experience he gets, I think the better he'll be. Deontay Brown, I know he went out like with an ankle injury, but when he was in, he looked pretty good out there as well. So let's just hope we can keep him healthy. Hey, Sam Tecklenberg played the game at center, and I'm not saying he's Matt Paradis, folks, but I was pretty well pleased with him, and I think if we keep 11 offensive linemen, I have no problem keeping him as our backup center. I think he did an admirable job. Now, one player that really disappointed me today was Trent Scott. I know he got pulled. They put Greg Little in his place. That's not good when that happens. Trent Scott had a couple of false starts. And I don't know, could be a bad day, what the situation is. I raved about him all camp. He played well for us last year. Maybe he had a bad game because he was thinking David Moore, his counterpart at Grambling State, was going to be there, and he wasn't. But he is a little disappointing to me. Now, do I think that means we're going to cut him? No. I don't think so. He'd have to really stink up the joint, and I don't think it's going to happen. And he is a valuable contributor. He just did not play well today, and he really started today because, remember, guys, he is the first offensive lineman off the bench. He's not a starter. Marquis Haynes, I thought he looked horrible. I know Caskey was off and on, didn't look good. A couple of these other offensive linemen really struggled. Definitely, man, they were stinking up. Some of the guys on the bottom of this was a Monteiro. Some of these guys just did not look good, and I was really disappointed with the line play. And like I said, our starters didn't play, but these guys were playing in the game, weren't playing, starters as well. But I think a guy like Marquis Haynes, maybe even Casket, are heading for the chopping blocks, folks. Now, Chuba Hubbard looked good today, folks. He had a really good run. He looks the part. Yeah, he got stuffed on the line a couple of times, but can we blame that on the offensive line? But, man, he looked really explosive. I like what we got with him. Marquis Haynes, man, he was probably as good as any defensive player on the field. He just looked like he was cutting above. And remember, he normally won't be the one starting. He's going to come in from Morgan Fox or from Brian Burns. But, man, he just looked so good. He had that strip fumble, and then he recovers a fumble. Hard to ask for anything more. Now, I know we've talked about it, and I've been talking about it in training camp here, that J.J. Jensen might not lose his job because Travis Fletcher has botched a couple of snaps. But today, Travis Fletcher got down on special teams on a punt and not only hit the guy, but he recovered a fumble. So he did his job. Now, but can we afford to keep him? If he doesn't excel and go past Jensen, what we're going to do? So that's going to be an interesting question. Now, I didn't notice a lot about Stanley Thomas Oliver, but I've been doing a lot of reading. I had to go back and look at some of the tape. He looked pretty decent out there playing corner today, and I'll accept that. Really was impressed with Kenny Robinson, the safety. Man, I was kind of wondering how he was second string above some guys like Miles Hartfield and Sam Franklin. But let me tell you something. Kenny Robinson looked very well, looked very active and fluid, and I liked the game I saw from him today. So I can see where the team, the coaches have him as our second string starting safety. Sean Chandler, he looked good out there as well, and I know we've kind of buried him on this depth chart and had him as a third stringer. He did not look bad at all. Now, I tell you who I really think is on the chopping block. I had talked about this in a previous video, and I said that Troy Pride Jr., I thought he was going to be the number 2 corner. Was shocked, and when I found out he was number 3, turns out he's the number 4 corner. I said, man, if that's the case, he's not going to make this roster. And after playing limited last year and playing well and being thrown in the fire, I thought he was just going to get better. And let me tell you, folks, he did not look good today at all. He struggled defensively. I can see now maybe why he is the 4th string corner. And today's performance, 2 plays in a row, he gets hurt. He holds, gets burnt with 2 catches on him. And I think his pride was a little hurt. And then when you get him off the field, it looks like he's passing out. And he may be on injured reserve, but folks, I'm telling you, it's not looking good for Troy Pride Jr. If he can't get in this game next week against Baltimore in 6 days and show an effort and do better than what he has, his days of being a Carolina Panther might be numbered. And if somebody picks him up, fine. Can we put him on the practice squad? Sure. But it doesn't look good for him right now, and I didn't think this was going to be the case when we started training camp. Now, I tell you one thing, I was really let down by our defensive line in the second half. Uninspiring. They made Sam Ehlinger, or whatever his name is, the rookie quarterback from Texas playing for the Colts. They made the dude look like the next great coming of Joe Montana. He was out there scrambling for first downs, running, zipping the ball. Our corners weren't on their assignment well. I don't know if you blame Phil Snow for this, or if we just had some weak guys in the secondary. Maybe we're not as deep as we thought. But, man, guys were getting burnt. Guys were open. Ehlinger wasn't getting pressure. And, if our starters are in, that's not going to be the case. He's going to get killed. But you want to see something by your backups, especially when you're playing a backup. And they made Ehlinger look like an all-pro, like he's going to make the Colts roster. I was disappointed with what I saw. Now, here's the take I got for today. This is where I'm going to catch some hell. Because if everybody's seen this game, and from comments I've read, and from what people are telling me, P.J. Walker looked okay to me. He looked okay. He missed some open passes. He did a little bit of deeks and dunks, had a little bit of running. A couple of times he should have took the ball and ran for a first down, and he threw the ball short and just led people and incomplete passes when he could have ran for a first down. Settled for some field goals when he should have had a touchdown. Now, he did have the one nice touchdown pass. And I do understand that when he goes out at halftime, I think we've got, 15 points on the board. We only get 3 in the second half or something like that. But a lot of people are saying Will Grier is a bust and third string. Now, I will say this. I do agree with what Steve Smith Sr. said on the telecast, that Will Grier's got the talent. He's got the arm. He can zip it. He lacks the confidence, and he's got to quit dinking and dunking. But I also saw a coaching staff not willing to let this man throw on 3rd and short. They would not put it in his hands. They ran the ball, and the Colts were ready to play. And right away I knew they're going to run the ball. It's 3rd and 2. Let the man pass. Let's see what we got with Will Grier. They run the ball, and they get stonewalled. An offensive lineman didn't make an assignment, and the Colts smother our running backs, and we got a punt. And it cost us some position. It cost us a field goal. It cost us times when we could have drove for a touchdown and we had to settle for a field goal. And I was really disappointed with that. But Will Grier, I thought for the most part, his passes were spot on when he did throw the ball. Now, I know he had one that was dropped and we had a 3 and out, but it was in the man's hand. And like Steve Smith Sr. said, hey, the coach is called to play. Grier threw the ball. The tight end, I believe, or one of the backup tight ends, I believe it was Giovanni Ricci, dropped the pass he should have caught, was in his hands, and that cost a drive. And I did see him throw one in the end zone and kind of led the guy a little wrong, had him turn around. But it wasn't like it was a bad pass. He just kind of threw it out of bounds. But he did have one where I was really impressed with Grier's presence. He stepped up right in the pocket and he threw the ball. He led his man just a little too high. He overthrew it, but it wasn't like a Cam Newton overthrow. It was probably about a half a foot over the receiver's head. If he could have brought it down just a hair, it would have been a nice pass over the middle for a first down. But I thought the coaching staff did not let him throw the ball. Now, maybe Grier had a chance a couple plays and I missed it. He didn't dare throw it deep. But I just think sometimes they ran the ball. They didn't give the man an opportunity enough. His accuracy and his numbers, he had a higher percentage of completions than P.J. Walker did, although Walker did lead us to the one touchdown. But I just was really, when people say, man, P.J. Walker is number 2 and Will Grier is number 3, I don't buy it. And one reason why, if anybody wants to complain about this, P.J. Walker had Terrace Marshall Jr. in the first half. Well, Terrace Marshall Jr. didn't go out in the second half, I don't think. And Will Grier had an opportunity to use him. So, in my opinion, let Will Grier start this second preseason game in the first half, put Terrace Marshall out there, and let him have him to throw to. Let's see what we get with that kind of connection. And let P.J. Walker play with some of these other guys who are lesser knowns. Your C.J. Saunders, Zilstra, even though he's not a lesser known, and some of these other receivers like Hyman. Let P.J. Walker throw to them, and let's see what his numbers will be. I think you got to be fair, folks. I really want one more look where I get Grier getting the second team reps, put Walker third team, let Grier get the first half, let Walker have the second. If Walker outperforms him then, it's different. But some of the things I saw today, I thought Grier looked better than what people are giving him an opportunity and the position he was put in. And I don't think Walker was as impressive as some people try to make it out to be. I know I'm going to get chastised for this. That's one man's opinion. But I thought Grier needed a little bit more of an opportunity against Walker to see what we got, or we're going to be letting go of the wrong guy. Maybe they both need to go, folks. I don't know. But tell me what you think of today's video. Who would you sit? Who are you ready to cut? Like Troy Pride Jr.? Anybody else? Leave me some comments. Pound that like button. Hit that bell notification and be notified of future content like this. And by all means, folks, subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. And we'll see you next time on another edition.